one and only perfect preserved book in the world is identified as Quran. It's been so perfectly preserved, dot by dot, letter by letter, sound by sound, word by word. It's exactly the same wherever you go to. It's been so perfectly preserved, over 563 verses are missing. It's been so perfectly preserved, some verses are eaten by sheep. It's been so perfectly preserved, as individuals died, they took the Quran with them. It's been so perfectly preserved, there is more than 30 Arabic Qurans, different Arabic Qurans. It's been so perfectly preserved, it was causing disturbation at the time of Muhammad by his companions. Individuals were fighting about this perfect preservation of the Quran. But of course, it is perfectly preserved with many loose ends. There is a story I've been asking last couple of years to Muslims. Why Muhammad, as he tells people what Allah is revealing to him, gives the same revelation to the people from the same tribe differently, which cause disturbation between them, which cause people to nearly fight with one another. And this question is going to be asked a professor. But before that, please come with me to Sahih Bukhari, hadith number 514. And we first read this story together. Hadith has been narrated by man called Umar. This is not any Umar who turns out of pink or blue. This is Umar, second caliph of Islamic world and the father-in-law of Muhammad. There is a fight is going on between about Surah 25. Narrated Umar bin Khattab. I heard Hisham bin Hakim reciting Surah Furqan during the lifetime of Allah's apostle, and I listened to his recitation, and I noticed that he recited in several different ways which Allah's messenger had not taught me. I was about to jump over him during his prayer, but I controlled my temper. When he had completed his prayer, I put his upper garment around his neck and seized him by it and said, "Who taught you this surah which I heard you are reciting?" He replied, "Allah's messenger taught it to me." I said, "You told a lie, for Allah's messenger has taught it to me in a different way from yours." So I dragged him to Allah's messenger and said, "I heard this person is reciting Surah Furqan in a way which you have not taught me." On that, Allah's apostle said, "Release him, Umar. Recite, O Hisham." Then he recited in the same way I heard him reciting. Then Allah's messenger said, "It was revealed in this way," and edited, "Recite, O Umar." I recited as he had taught me. Allah's messenger then said, "It was revealed in this way." This Quran has been revealed to be recited in 7 different ways. So recite it whichever is easier for you. Hisham bin Hakim and Umar bin Khattab is from the same tribe. Muhammad is teaching them the Quran, people who are in the same tribe, in different ways. By that stage, no one is knowing that the Quran is being revealing in different ways until Umar want to grab him, jump over him during his prayer, but Umar is so kind. He waits until the prayer is finishing. And both of them goes to Muhammad, and Muhammad says, "Recite it whichever easier for you," after he okays those different ways of Surah 25. Those people are from the same tribe. They are speaking the same dialect. And both of them are learning from the same person. Muhammad is saying, recite it whichever easier for you. I've been asking the question last couple of years. Why people in the same tribe are reciting the same surah differently while they are speaking the same dialect? I am asking the question, actually, how can that make it easier? And all I heard is blah, 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 blah. My questions were actually never been properly answered. But a couple of years ago, the individual who I did ask the question was brave enough to ask the question to a professor who has been doing amazing works on the Quranic manuscripts, Professor Yasin Duta. So let's hear the question a Muslim missionary is gonna ask. Very, very similar question for last couple of years I've been asking. Why individual from the same tribe needs to learn the Quran in different way, and we don't even know which way is that, and why on earth that will make it easier for them. Remember, word of Allah has been perfectly preserved. There is only one Quran, but in somehow there were different Qurans at the time of Muhammad. Let's listen this short clip.
Sorry, I'll come to you.
The rukhsah was given to read in different ways. Looking at the hadith which are in Sahih collections, which seems to indicate that the Prophet ﷺ directly taught them the particular surah. So they heard from the Prophet ﷺ, and when they replied back after, like the example of Umar ibn Khattab, King, it seems to indicate that they learned it directly from the Prophet. So obviously direct learning would be when the Prophet recited to that particular companion and he's learned it that way. Rather than, there's a stock template where you can actually use that template with the degree of variances that are allowed and permissible. That's the other question I would like to clarify. So the question is, obviously the Prophet ﷺ would not have taught every single companion all the different ways of reading. It's practically,
impossible.
It's impossible. So that means there has to be a way where the companions had their own ikhtiyar, their choice, based on the permissibility that was given. So they have clear understanding of how much, or what was the degree of variations that you can bring about in revelation. The question remains is, what was exactly the rukhsah that was given? I mean, some of the hadith which indicates, Ghafur Rahim, Samir Alim, but I'm not sure about the authenticity of some of these narrations. So if we go for strict, authentic narrations, then you have one picture, but if you have the evidence speaks for itself, then you can get a different picture altogether. What's your clarification on this? When the same two people from the same dialect or
tribe,
reciting differently, if the Prophet taught them differently, and how is it making it easier? To give an example, in Surah Al-Furqan there are examples where there are single and jama', a word is recited in singular and plural. Examples of where it's ya'malun and ta'malun, something of this difference of grammatical declension. How is it making it easier for a two adult companion rather than, say, someone who's very old and especially women who are not very literate, or children? Because for that we can have an understanding of, okay, there are some difficulty for them, for example, very old or literate as well. But two persons who are actually very adult, mature person, who are learning directly from the Prophet, how are these making it easier for them to recite? I mean, what's the difference in terms of choosing variation?
Got one.
So, first of all, I think we need to give credit when it is necessary. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for finally being brave enough and asking the questions I've been asking Muslim missionaries. Muslim missionaries asking Yasin Dutton for now. So that is good. Well done. Now you know the answers you have given to us, which you intentionally lied, wasn't even justifying you. Since there is only one perfect preserved Quran and perfectly preserved. So why on earth? Different versions of Surah 25, which is giving to the people who speak the same dialect, they are from the same tribe, would identify it as, oh, recite it whichever easier for you. How can that make it easier? Of course, there are lots of other issues with this hadith, but I'm not going to focus on that. So let's get to hear the response is going to come from the professor. And please give attention what he says, because what we are going to hear is, we don't know what is that the way Muhammad recited, and also we will get to hear it is all loose end.
One immediate possible response and another one. The immediate possible response is that you're trying to remember something, and was it they or he? Can't remember. Was it they or we? Doesn't matter. Say whatever, as long as the meaning's there. So one kind of ease is that as long as you get the general idea right, you're okay. Now the other thing is that you were talking about the way the Prophet ﷺ taught me. Do we know the way the Prophet ﷺ actually, well, again, there's riwayat that do give us an indication, like he taught us this he taught us this dua, like he would teach us a surah of the Quran, for example. So we understand that there were words that were taught in a certain form, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and it always has to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But I wonder whether it was a 1-ish, followed by a 2-ish, followed by a 3-ish, followed by a 4-ish, followed by a 5-ish, because we don't actually know. As long as you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in that kind of order, again, it's back to the idea of what was it when we say the way the Prophet ﷺ recited. What do we actually mean? Because we're thinking in terms, we're expecting, and people have expected for, literally 1400 years or whatever it is, they've been expecting a very limited understanding of the way the Prophet ﷺ recited it, which is why there's a problem in the first place. Because that Sayyidina Umar says, look, and that's the wording, isn't it? So that hadith is such a critical thing, because to understand that is to basically understand everything. Because he was told, yes, that was the way it was revealed. Now what does that mean? Was revealed with exactly that sort of, Perish Zabr and all this kind of thing, or does it mean that, yes, that was the meaning, that was the dhikr, because the dhikr is something that reminds you. Again, it's not I suppose the dhikr, you could say it's, hey, do that, remind yourself of that. I mean, there are lots of loose ends, you see.
Just a quick note, I'm sure it is not my place to remind the professors or Muslim missionaries, but riwayats are never been seen by Muhammad. Muhammad was long dead before the riwayats stepped into the Muslim world. Did you catch it? As long as meaning is there, as long as you've got the general idea. Did you get it? What is that way? We don't know. And we don't know. It is all loose end. So, it is all loose end. Quran has been apparently, according to Muslim sources, revealed to Muhammad in different ways, but it is all loose ends. It is all the general idea. You get the general idea correct. Why? How can it make it easy? People who speak the same language, they are from the same tribe, they speak the same dialect, gets the different version of the Quran to make it easier for them. It's all loose end. Yet. Quran has been perfectly preserved. There is only one Quran alongside of over 30 different Arabic Qurans. Quran has been so perfectly preserved, it ends up having loose end and getting the general idea. But I cannot share that info with you. All you need to know is dot by dot, letter by letter, sound by sound, word by word. Quran has been perfectly preserved, and there is only one perfect Quran every individual recites today, because that is the story we want to tell everyone, so that no one leaves the Islam and no one opens their eyes to the lies not only Muhammad told individuals, but 21st century Muslims are lying their community. Please, 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 just follow the lies and follow the lies and stay in Islam, because still there is only one perfect Quran alongside of many Qurans with the different versions of it. And it ends up having, it's all loose ends. We've just got the general idea correct.